Hi all, PlantSide Agent here. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of different burn options for the BCB Crusader Mark II cooker. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. A few days ago I was watching a video by InfoZ, and he was cooking on his BCB Crusader, and he did something a little bit different. He actually poured the alcohol directly into this little out of the way, this little tray in the bottom of the cooker, and used it from there. And I go, well, that's interesting. Not something I would do, but I thought I think he was out of his regular fuel or whatever. But anyway, I thought, well, that's a possibility. I think I'll go ahead and test that and just see what the performance is. One, I don't think it will be quite as good as if you used the Trangia, or you used one of the these my 2-ounce tin type burners. For one thing, the distance between the top of the flame and the pot is going to be 2 inches, which is ½ inch out of the sweet spot, so it won't be performance well, although it does work because he cooked his dinner with it. so I thought I'd give that a try. And then while I was at it, I thought, well, heck, this one is the little tray in the bottom that is really designed for the gel fuel or a Esbit type solid fuel tablet. But it's also about the same size as my, well, it's almost exactly the same size as my 2-inch burners that where I spiral up some carbon felt into it. So I thought, well, shoot, let me just put some carbon felt in this and see how that works. So I'm going to run 2 burn tests. So anyway, I did cut some strips of carbon felt, and I scrolled them up so that they would fit in there. I've since pulled it out, and of course it all falls apart. But so anyway, I'm going to do 2 burns. One I'm just going to do with the straight alcohol just floating in the little tray here, and also with the carbon felt. I'm sure this will work just as well as this one will. It's just that you're going to have the distance, because this one is about, what was it, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, can't remember now, even though I did it a couple days ago, closer to the pot, which is, this one's in the sweet spot where this one isn't. But let's see how the time differences work on that. Let's see. Something else I was going to say about it before I got started. Oh, one of the things I don't like about using, just pouring the fuel into a container and letting it burn, and that goes with just about any of these kind of burners. I mean, it does work. I've done tests like on these where it's just just pour the fuel in and burn, and that does work. I don't think it's as efficient, and also, well, as far as burn times, it's not as efficient. Now, whether it burns less fuel for the same amount of water to boil, I don't know. But one of the problems with that is that, you got the slosh factor. If you keep everything stationary, it's not a problem. But if you slop it at all, the stuff, the fuel could slop out, and then it's going to run and spill, and you're going to have a real mess on your hands. So I don't advise it. You can always find something to use as a wick. Even I think people have used paper towels and stuff like that will work to a certain degree. I know years ago, Hiram Cook, who does great videos, although he hasn't done it for many years, he did a whole series on, I think, Fancy Feast stove using different materials to see how they work. So if I find that video and also InfoZ's video, I will go ahead and put those links to those in the comment section, along with all my other BCB videos. This will be number 4 that I've done on this cook set. And also I have playlists for my stoves and cook sets. So I'll put those links in the description if you want to go chase those down. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get this set up for the first burn test, and I'll get right back to you. Oh, and another comment, in part 2, I did do boil tests using the Trangia in the cooker and also the 2-ounce round aluminum tin burner. So those will be, like I said, in the description. So anyway, let's go ahead and start to get started here. I do have 16 ounces of water today at 54. I think when I ran this test the other day it was at 55, so maybe I'll just hit the timer when the temperature gets up to 54. So, I mean 55, so we'll kind of be equal just to see how it goes. So I got the water. Oh, and if you saw my first video, I haven't done any more work on my lid. It's still still in the early rough stages if I ever finish it. So anyway, let's see. Make sure I got everything here. That. I think we're ready to do a test. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some alcohol straight into the little cup down here. Oh, by the way, I use yellow heat for all my tests. Yellow heat is about the cheapest option around here in the western United States. I hear that you can't get it in other countries, so anyway, that's what I use. Oh, make sure to get it off my hands before I light the match. So let's go ahead and fire this off. Oops. I really like using matches for these, or I guess also you could use a ferro rod, but matches for these alcohol stoves where you got to get the match down close to it, because with a lighter you got to stick your whole darn hand in there and like chance of burning yourself. There we go. Okay, that's going. Doesn't take long. It doesn't have to bloom. It's just ready to go. So let's go ahead and close the gate. I think I'll turn this sideways. Put on the pot. There we go. Okay, just hit 55. Didn't take long. Everything's in frame. So we're off. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and I'll fire back up when I get a little closer to the boil, or if I come up with another thought. I think I just discovered another downside to using this as a way to burn this. Look at how the flames are coming out of the vent holes and up the side of the pot. That's I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. The fuel just burning in this is pretty darn vigorous. So I tell you what, there's another reason I wouldn't recommend just using the straight fuel like that, is you get this kind of really dangerous looking burn. Well, we're getting close. 207, a little over 5 minutes. So this is boiling very fast. I'm wondering how long the fuel. Oh, there we go. I'll call it at 517. Yeah, when I did the boil tests for these guys, I think this one was around 6.5 minutes. So, and this one was closer to 10. So this is, I guess, if you want a fast and furious boil, then this is the way to go. The way these flames are leaping up, I'm going to go ahead and use gloves, because I'm sure this pot handle got hot. It didn't have that problem. Oh yeah, and poof, it's gone. The fuel is gone. So looks like it was less than 6 minutes to run out on that fuel. I'll just write that down. I'll have to go back on the video and get the exact time that this burned out. So so just putting the fuel in there, it's a fast and furious boil. Like I said, it'll boil 2 cups of water without any problem. But like I say, it's pretty furious. I don't know how much fuel was in there. I was going to use a different way to see how much fuel was in there. I got ahead of myself. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and measure how much fuel that holds, and I'll post that down in the description, or I'll put a text in the video here when I get into post-production. That's the first burn. Pretty interesting results. I'm going to go ahead and let everything cool back down to room temperature and start getting ready for the next burn. Okay, waiting for the equipment to cool back down, I set the cooker and the piece of tile I was using to set it on outside to cool down, so everything's kind of back down to the normal temperature that I started the last one on. Although one interesting thing is the cooker and the tile got very hot, In fact, I can feel the heat. While I'm waiting for things to cool down, I'll go ahead. I went inside and grabbed my notes from the last boil test. And the Trangia, when I ran him, same thing, 55 degrees. It took 10 minutes and 13 seconds and 23 grams of fuel. I didn't measure the fuel on this last burn, and I'm not going to. The tin, it actually is it's faster than the Trangia, because the Trangia had like about a 3/4 inch gap, where this one had the 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, which is the sweet spot. So anyway, it was 6 minutes and 26 seconds, but it burned 26 grams of fuel. So that's the difference, as opposed to this last one. The Roar was 5 minutes and 17 seconds. So that was over a minute faster than this one. So anyway, I'm going to go check on it, see if it's cooled off enough. We can get the next boil test going. The cooker cooled right down, but the piece of tile is still warm, so I'm leaving it outside. So I just grabbed another piece of old broken tile that I had that I'll use for this testing. So I went ahead and coiled up my carbon felt. I don't know how you can see that, it's all dark, but I coiled up the carbon felt and stuffed that inside the little cup down here. And this time I'm going to go ahead and measure the fuel. I'll use my fuel bottle that has the graduations on the side. So I'll fill this up and see how much it takes, just for curiosity. Of course, it's going to be less than without the coil. It looks like it right about there, close enough. So let's see, what do we got? We started with 5, and so it looks like it took about 1.5 ounces of fuel. So I imagine the other one took a little more than that, which means it really went through that fuel in a hurry. So I think we're ready for the next boil test. Put my crappy lid on here. Let's see. Yeah, there's a little bit of fuel left in there, but it's not going to be that I spilled out the side, which shouldn't be a factor. So we're off again. I've got this time 55 degrees, 16 ounce of 55 degree water, and I got the ready to go. I think I can start this with, we'll put the trivet over the top, and we'll light it off. No problem there. It's on its way. Go ahead and put this on. We're off. Went ahead and turned the lights off to see how this flame pattern on this is going, and it's actually, if you can see on the back side here, it's actually starting to come out the vent holes and up the side of the pot. So it's a little not as vigorous as just the plain fuel, but you know, when I did the this boil, I didn't really notice that happening. The flames coming out like that. I don't understand why it would do that, and it's boiling pretty quick. I mean, it's up to 126, and we're only 2.5 minutes in. You know, I did the boil test using the tin. I don't recall the flames coming out around the side like it is with this one, because basically we have the same thing. It's just a round container with carbon felt in it. You'd think they'd perform about the same. So I don't know, may have something to do with being closer to the pot. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I may just after all this is done, fill this up and do another burn just to see if I see the flames coming up. Well, getting close to boil, 205, 510, almost the same as the without the felt. Wow. 517, exactly the same burn time with the felt and with just the loose fuel in there. That's very interesting. Go ahead and let this burn out for a while, see how long it takes to use up that fuel. I would assume the same, since it took the same amount of time to burn, and I'm sure it actually had a little more fuel. Okay, the fuel is just about burned out, just kind of flickering in the bottom there. And look at this, we got 9.5 minutes, where it took, I think, under 6 minutes that just the liquid fuel in there burned out fast. So it's interesting. The boil times are exactly the same, but the flame lasted longer. So I would say it's safer and more efficient to use the carbon felt than it is just the liquid fuel floating around in there. It's just barely flickering. I'm going to just go ahead and yeah, we'll call it good. So let's say 10 minutes on the run out. So probably not effective cook time of 10 minutes, more maybe like 9. So anyway, that's very interesting results. Really puzzled on that. I think what I'm going to do just for fun is I'll take this out, let it cool down again. I'll pull the carbon felt out of there, and then I'll refill this and throw that in there just to see if we get the same flames coming out like the last burn did. It doesn't make any sense why being a ½ inch lower would cause more flame. Maybe there's some scientific thing behind that I'm unaware of. All right, we're going to check on how the flames behave using the 2-ounce round tin burner. Just a note, look at how the my little lid got blackened from the or scorched from that fireball that I had on the previous 2 burns. I'm not going to do an official boil test, but I just have things set up. I just got some tap water, and it's about 6 degrees warmer than the stuff I had just sitting in bottles out here in the garage, which is around 55 degrees. So anyway, the other thing too is that I noticed that tile plate that I used on the last burn got hot, just like the first test, and actually underneath on the counter it got hot too. So after I let this burn for a while, I might check to see how much heat's being transferred out of this. So I would think maybe not as bad as the other one, getting the heat transferred. So anyway, let's just for fun, we'll go ahead and fire this one off, and we'll see how the flames look. I'll pay closer attention than I did on my last video burns. So we'll go ahead and set this guy on here, and we'll let the flame and all heat and develop. Well, about 2 minutes into this burn, and that's about the same time I looked at the last one, and the flames aren't quite as vigorous. Turn it around here. You can see they're not lapping up the back side or out the side. Little tamer burn here. It's starting to flicker a little bit out, but nothing like the previous 2 burns. So I don't know why. Maybe it's a function of distance, or what. Maybe the way the heat develops inside. I don't know what the scientific principle of why that lower one would be so much hotter. It's not as scary as the last 2 burns. So it's pretty vigorous flame in there, and like I say, nothing like the other one. And I am getting a little bit of flame licks up the back side of the pot here, but nothing quite as crazy as the last burns. Coming up on the boil, even though this isn't an equal test since we started at 61 degrees instead of 55, but there we go, 629. Okay, go ahead and shut all this down. I'm not going to let it run out. It should be about the same, but pretty good flame yet. Okay, I'm going to find out how much heat transferred through the cooker into the tile and underneath the tile. Lift that off. Yeah, that's warm. Yeah, it's good and hot. So I guess something to be aware of. These do throw a lot of heat off the bottom, so careful what you put it on just dirt or whatever, nothing flammable like grass. Okay, I'll wrap this video up and we'll summarize what happened here today. So for starters, just put the liquid fuel, raw fuel, right into the little tray in the bottom. Like I said, it burns fast. We did 16 ounces of 55 in 5 minutes and 17 seconds, which is pretty quick. But then we had a lot of flames coming up around the side, which was kind of risky or scary at best. And then when I put the coil of carbon felt in there, made it safer from sloshing, and it took the exact amount of time, same amount of time as just the liquid fuel for 16 ounces of 55. That was 5 minutes and 17 seconds again. just the raw fuel ran out at 6 minutes, where the fuel in the coil took 10 minutes before it burned it all off. So this is definitely more efficient and safer. So this is probably the better way to go. That's if you don't want to build a little 2-ounce. As far as the heat coming out the bottom, doesn't seem to make any difference. So, and time-wise, it was a pretty efficient burn. Actually, it boiled faster than the little 2-ounce tin that I have in here. So probably a good and efficient way to go if you just want to just leave this in the bottom and just use alcohol all the time instead of switching back and forth. As far as it's definitely safer to use this or a tin or a Trangia to burn in there. Like I say, I don't really have nowhere I can find good access to the gelled fuel. If I find some, I might just bite the bullet and buy some, even if I think it's a little expensive around here. And just for my own curiosity to see how that works. Like I said, I don't think I'll do solid fuel. It stinks and it's messy. So if I do find some gel, I will do another burn just to see how that works and see if it gets as vigorous a flame as just the plain liquid alcohol. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.